Hey, Neil, 3 girlfriends?
4.
4?
Yes.
Wait, you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he just updated that.
Oh, really, though?
recently.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I came across a video and just wanted to, share my thoughts on it. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm going to be watching it with you guys. So without further ado, let's take a look at the clip.
Dude is a genius. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, like
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Neil, 3 girlfriends?
4.
4?
Yes.
Wait, you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he just updated that.
Oh, really, though?
recently.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I gotta go to Wikipedia and
Added a
change
new
it.
member.
Yeah.
He was
All
up
right,
to
yeah,
4 now?
because I was wondering, I was like 3. I was like, man, that's an odd number. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had to,
How does one? I don't think I've had 4 girlfriends in my life. You saw what I looked like. You know what I'm saying? yeah. You know, like, it's not hard to believe. Pull up some old pictures. You know what I'm saying?
Lord have mercy.
What 4 girlfriends? And you
Yes.
know what I love about this, man? We're talking about it, so it's obvious they all know about each other, right? No?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Wow. So Neo says that he doesn't have just 3 but 4 girlfriends, and the beauty of it is that each girlfriend knows about the other girlfriend. Wow. And the reason why I wanted to comment on this is because as somebody who used to be a party girl, I wasn't like one of many girlfriends to the same person, but as somebody in the world and now in Christ, and even just a season that I'm walking through right now where the Lord is really bringing like a deep healing to my soul, because the Lord heals us in layers. It's like an onion. First he deals with one layer, then he goes to another layer, and one of the deep healings that he's doing in my soul is in relation to like why I was even in the kinds of relationships that I was in the world, and it always goes back to some wound that's in our soul. And women, one of the things that I really recognize that the enemy does is that he really has trained women to not see their value. We have a world that tells us, we need to look a certain way, we need to sleep with men before they even commit to us in marriage. There are certain things that we need to do in order for us to have stuff. It's all about being with a man who has fame, influence, money. I mean, somebody like Neo, who he can sing and, he's a superstar, and, I suppose, whatever else it is that these women are thinking about, that they would degrade themselves in a way where they're sharing the same partner. And he said girlfriends, which is telling me that they're not married, which obviously you can't do that anyway because that's not legal, so you're just dating him and he has multiple girlfriends. And it is degrading. People may not know that it's degrading, or maybe these women don't know that it's degrading, but when your partner is okay with sharing himself with somebody else outside of you, then that's not love. That's not love. It's interesting how the world teaches that you can't be with one person for the rest of your life. It's, you even have people telling you that in your nature, it's not in our nature to be monogamous. Yeah, that's the word, monogamous. But really, that's true strength, that's true love. You being able to commit to one person for the rest of your life, you being able to work through things with that one person and not just be all over the place. Things happen and, oh, let me cheat, let me go find somebody else. I mean, where does it end? Where does it end, really? What exactly are you looking for? There'll always be somebody that looks better than you. There'll always be somebody who makes more money than you. I mean, what is it really? You know, what exactly is it that you're looking for? Things like that comes from wounds in our souls. You know, I was having this conversation with my sister earlier on today, and the only person who can fill that void and fill that wound or heal that wound in your soul is God. He created that place and that space with us, you know, and we are created to be relational beings because God created us, and the relationship that He wants is for us to have that relationship with Him. And we tend to chase after so many different things to fill that void, but only God can fill that void, you know. So the beauty of a relationship is having one person actually saying, you're the only person I want. You're the only person I want to commit myself to. I'm willing to spend the rest of my life with you, building a life with you, committing to you. And unfortunately, the world teaches us the opposite, because the thing about it is God is the creator. He's the only one that can create things. Satan can't create anything. What he does is he perverts what God creates. And so this is why you have this perverted worldview about sex, about relationships, about marriage, you know, and all these different things. Is because what the enemy has done is he has perverted God's creation. What did he create? Marriage between one man and one woman. You're supposed to be committed to each other, monogamous. You have a family, you have children, you raise them up together. Not just dating one man, having 4 girlfriends. I mean, come on, what are you doing? You know, what exactly is NEYO looking for? So, you know, I just wanted to just stop it right here and express that, because like I said, being someone who the Lord took out of the world and is doing such deep healing in to show why it is that, especially women, you know, I really have a heart for women, because I know what it's like to be in the world. I know what it's like to be broken. I know what it's like to have be chasing after relationships, because that's what I was doing. I was chasing after relationships because I was so broken. But what I was looking for was love. And truly, when I found Christ, that's when healing began, and I began to see how dysfunctional I was, because this is dysfunction. What he's doing right now is dysfunctional. It doesn't serve a function. God is functional. What's the function in you as one man having 4 girlfriends? Everything about the Lord is functional. And the thing is, unfortunately, and I don't know, I don't believe that NEYO, I don't think he's a Christian. So again, this isn't about bashing anyone either, because he's just doing what he knows. These women are just doing what they know. Like I said, I was doing what I knew when I was in the world. It was when I came to Christ that understanding came to me. And then I was able to start making changes that brought functionality in my life, because that word good, it means to be functional. That's why we say that God is good. When we say that God is good, what we're saying is that God is functional. So everything that God does, his mind, his character, his nature has a function, right? So anyway, let us continue. Let's go further and see what else NEYO has to say.
That's the beautiful part of it. You know what, man?
What's the freedom in that?
I wasted so much time and money and just lying for nothing. Like if I really and truly, wow. If I'd have known, like I of course you hear all the time, honesty is the best policy. And you go, yeah. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and tell this lie and keep this secret. But I realize now that if I'd have just been honest from the jump, I could have saved myself a whole bunch of heartache, and everything else. Because it's like you once you draw your line in the sand, you go, listen, this is what it is. This is what it's not.
All right, so he says he wasted so much time lying, you know, wasting money and all of that, which means that what he was doing is he was having multiple women, but he wasn't telling the other women that he was seeing another woman. So, you know, I guess he'd be lying. He's lying about probably where he was, what he was doing, who he was with, spending a lot of money to hide things, you know, but it sounds to me like then he said, you know what, I'm just gonna say this is what it is. He probably just said, listen, I want to see other people. I want to have multiple relationships. And I guess these women just said, okay, we're okay with you having different girlfriends. And again, it just goes back to what I said previously. Women, we are worth more than that. No, you may not see it that way. You're getting what you want, whether it's money, notoriety because of who he is. In your eyes, he probably treats you well, buys you nice things, takes you out to nice dinners, pays for, your mortgage, your car, your nails, your hair, all that kind of stuff. But all of that stuff is vanity. All of that stuff is vanity. We have to come into the place where we understand that it's just a meat sack. It's not who we really are. We have a soul. Our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. And you cannot tell me that you're okay. In your soul, you're okay with the person that you're with having other women with you. You can't. You can pretend like you're okay with it because the money and all that other stuff is, I guess, making up for that hole or that emptiness you're feeling on the inside. But you can't tell me. And if that is the case, where you're saying that's okay, then there's something wrong. There's a hardness that has happened to you that needs to be dealt with. Because I can tell you on the regular, no woman wants to share the man that they're with somebody else. They don't. Let's continue.
Right.
And let her make the choice. You'll find the ones that rock the way you rock.
Do y'all live together, Neil?
Not exactly. I mean, they don't live far from me. I keep them very close. But again, when I go home, when I get free time, again, I have 7 children. You know what I mean? So they'll come by, but for the most part, it's me and the kids.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. So he has 7 children. Now, it sounds to me as though these 7 children are split among these 4 girlfriends. So here's the issue with that also. Here's a reason why this lifestyle isn't the order that God set out, because he says the children will always be, or the children will be with him. Those children will never have a full-time dad. They'll never have a full-time dad because it's split between 4 different households. It doesn't matter if the children come over, all 7 come over to his house when he has a time. When he's not there, then they're split between their 4 mothers. Okay? So you'll never have dad in the household full-time. It won't happen. So those kids never have their dad full-time. God has an order and a structure. That's why it's father, mother, they get married, and then they have children. You leave sex for marriage also. And you see, the thing is, children need their both parents. They do. And yes, you have single parents who raise their kids and they turn out great, but it's not about the physical accomplishments, which is the point that I'm trying to make. We have a soul, right? And it doesn't matter how well your mom does if you were raised by your mom alone. It doesn't matter how well your dad does if you were raised by your dad alone. You still need that parent that was missing. There's a reason why the Lord gave us mothers and fathers. There's a reason why he said the husband and the wife, and then they have the children. Because there's something that a mother does in your life, and there's some things that a father does in your life that cannot be replaced by either sex. I don't care what they're telling you today. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Even if you have a mom and a dad in the home and their relationship is dysfunctional, it affects you. Why? Because there's a way that a mom is supposed to be functional towards her children. There's a way that a father is supposed to be functional towards their children. There's a way that a husband and a wife is supposed to be functional towards each other. So there's this saying, my mother who fathered me. It's nonsense. Your mother cannot father you. She cannot take your father's role, and vice versa. And so these kids will never have that stability because they'll never have a dad that's full-time in the home. There'll always be a split between that. And there is an epidemic of right now of fatherlessness. There is an epidemic because we are missing our fathers. Fathers are the head of the homes. They're the head of the home. They're the ones who are supposed to teach their children. They're the one that's supposed to pass down things and teachings to their kids, you know, and this is all just so dysfunctional. And really, it's about fulfilling your own fleshly carnal desires. You're not thinking about the well-being of the kids. You say that you love them, you can say that you love them, and you bring them over to the house and you give them everything physical and all of that. But your lifestyle is hurting those children. It is. Because God has a specific design. Again, everything that we do in the earth is supposed to show God's nature. This is not a part of God's nature. Having multiple partners is not a part of God's nature. Having children between different women is not a part of God's nature, because God's nature and God's order is, he said it, he created man and woman to be married and to have children and to be fruitful and multiply within that marriage, not with multiple spouses. There is a deeper meaning to it, but I don't want to go too deep on this. But in essence, there is soul and spirit, and soul and spirit are to be married so that a child can be birthed, and that child is Yeshua. Now, if you are here sleeping around with multiple different people and producing multiple offspring, then that's not a representative of you producing Yeshua. That's you producing multiple seeds. So that's the reason why the Lord has a specific order. It's not about just saying, don't do that because it's wrong. There is actually, God actually has a mind and an order behind why he says that. So, I have a big problem with this part, even bringing the children into this, because it's very dysfunctional. It doesn't matter how much you try to be there. Kids need structure. Kids need order. Why doesn't daddy stay with us? Why doesn't daddy live here full time? They're gonna have those kinds of questions, and you are now planting and sowing seeds into these precious, impressionable kids and in their minds. Dysfunction that is okay. It's okay to live like this. Where on the inside they're like, but I want daddy to be here. Why doesn't daddy stay with us? Why is daddy with this person? You know, why is it that my brother and my sister doesn't live with me and they have a different mommy and all of those different things? Kids ask those things. Those things weigh in on kids. They're very impressionable. And if it is that you can try to sway them in a different way, you know, and feed them a different seed and have them thinking that it's okay because they're impressionable. But at some point, those seeds grow a tree that bears fruit, and eventually at some point in their lives, that fruit is going to be rotten because that seed is rotten. Anyway, let's continue listening.
Yeah, man.
How does this, and not that I want to experience this, but
Something in your eye, bro.
yeah, I'm crying. How does this happen? How do you do this?
So it started with, there's one that's been around a little longer than everybody else.
And how long has that been?
A few years.
Okay.
A few years. And I just basically decided after my divorce, I decided, you know what, I ain't lying to nobody no more. I hurt a lot of people with just being dishonest about things that I could have been honest about.
Right.
So I'm not doing that no more. So, the one that was around, she already knew that there was others, but it was never a situation where we were all together. So I just one day said, all right, listen, we're going to dinner and I'm going to introduce you to her, and we're going to see what happens. And by the grace of God, everybody got along. See, when you start,
These
when
dudes
you
say by
lead
the
with
grace
honesty,
of God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because
He said, by the grace of God. No, Neo. No, dude. And so he was married apparently. Okay, because like I said, I don't really know anything about him. Don't know anything about his life. Just came across this video and I was just like, oh wow, I'd love to take a watch and react to it. I'm just watching it with you guys right now for the first time. So he was married, so it seems to me as though he cheated on his wife. Again, there you go, going against God's order. Then he brings everybody together and he says, by the grace of God, everybody got along. So again, guys, listen. He's living out his carnal, fleshly desires. He wants to have different partners. He wants to sleep with different women. And he wants to have children with these different women. And he wants to live his life this way. So what he's doing is he's feeding his fleshly desires, his lust. The Bible talks about the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. And those people will not enter into the kingdom, right? So for him to even say that by the grace of God, they got along. No, we need to stop attributing God to things because they're going well for us, but it's all fleshly and carnal. It's about us pursuing our own desires and then putting God on top of that and saying, oh, God did this for me. No, God does not go outside of his nature. I just described about God being functional because it demonstrates his nature. None of this demonstrates God's nature because he did not tell us to do any of this. God's nature and design is for a man and a woman to come together, to get married, and for them to be fruitful and multiply and have children within the covenant. Because let's understand something here. God is a God of covenant. That's why marriage is a covenant. What NEYO did is he broke covenant. He broke covenant with God. He broke covenant with his wife when he cheated, when he had an affair. Because he said he lied. So I'm assuming that he had an affair and he cheated on his wife. Okay? So you're breaking covenant. Covenant is a legally binding agreement. And saying that by the grace of God they got along. No, the Lord is not a part of it. He's not in agreement with this. He's not in agreement with this. So there's no grace from God. And people twist grace. Even Christians twist grace. And they use it as a license for sin because they don't understand the writings of Paul and what Paul was really saying. Because grace is actually a revelation of Christ and what he has done. And then there is a divine influence upon your heart to do what is right, according to God's word. I'm trying not to go too deep here, but grace is certainly not a license to sin. And grace is not God doing stuff for us to appease our carnal nature and our carnal man so that we can sin. No. And the beauty about it though is that doing this and being in ignorance in this way, there is such a kindness and compassion from the Lord, where when we at that point where we become convicted by sin, we'll look back on things like this and be like, oh man, wow, God, like what were you even thinking when I was doing this? And then I was even attributing this to you and you had nothing to do with it. That's the goodness of God. That's the mercy of God. That's the kindness of God. But by no means is the Lord blessing sin. No, he's not. He is not. And you can take that to the bank, But yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
See how God works?
I could have been way left. You know what I mean? It could have been real bad.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Be like, man, you hear what happened to NEYO at dinner last night?
Yeah.
Like I gotta go get an airbrush t-shirt. You know what I'm saying?
The whole restaurant burned down.
Yeah.
But no, they got along, and again, and I feel like it's because I led with honesty.
Right,
I let listen, I like you, but I also like her, and I also like her. So here's what I want to do. I want to bring this whole thing together. If you with it, cool. If you're not, that's cool too.
Right.
No love lost. I recall in older relationships, where I messed up, got caught or whatever, and the girl said to me, you took my choice away. You took my option away. And I never understood what that meant, because it's like, why would any woman choose to share? But to be honest, like, when you lead with the option,
Right,
like, listen,
yeah.
this is not. I'm not forcing you to do anything.
Right.
I'm not misleading you or trying to. There's nothing like that.
No
It's
one's
all
lied
honest,
to. No one's
straight
in
up.
the dark.
Brainwashing.
That's the way it works.
Say,
That's the way it works.
you know what I love about that too, man? And my wife went, "You love? What do you mean you love?" But no, it really lets them. It puts other people in control of their decision.
Right.
Oh wow, yeah. So he said that one of the reasons why he, one of the lessons he learned, I guess, instead of lying, because when he'd get caught, so it seems that he's a serial cheater. Like he just really likes to date different people. And the woman said to him, "You took my choice away," and he never understood what that meant. Like, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to think that that women think that it's okay to play second fiddle. And, I just remember sharing with my sister, that, you felt like you needed to be somebody else, or you needed to do more for the person to like you, to keep the person's interest, because they had wandering eyes. I mean, I thank God for Jesus Christ. I really do, because he has really shown me my identity. Like, ladies, you don't need to do anything to entertain a man's attention to you. The person that the Lord has for you will see you for who you are. He'll value you. He'll treasure you. He'll not be looking to date you and Mary Jane and this person, that person cheating on you, doesn't know how to remain faithful to you. Listen, come on. This really hits home for me. This really hits home for me. And there's so much damage that can be done to your soul when when you're with somebody that's a cheater, that cheats on you. It diminishes you, and that's what I really believed happened to these women, because they thought NEYO was such a catch, because of who he is, and okay, well, you want to date other people, so they diminish themselves in order to stay in this relationship. And I pray that you come into the knowledge that you're worth more than this. You're worth so much more than this. Coming into Christ has totally transformed my mind and the way that I think, but it has also brought such deep healing to my soul. And one of the things I know for sure is that, the Lord has, if he has called you to marriage, and by the way, marriage is about purpose. It's not about you fulfilling your carnal, fleshly desires and, oh my gosh, he's so gorgeous and he has this and he has that, and oh my gosh, we have so much in common, and oh, he likes that and I like that. It has nothing to do with that. It's about souls. It's about bringing people into the kingdom. It's about purpose. It literally is a match made in heaven. The Lord matches you with your spouse, because there is a purpose and a destiny on your marriage. And it's always about the kingdom, and it's always about bringing souls and how the two of you fit together to accomplish that purpose. And as somebody who just had so much drama in that area of my life, in terms of, just having all of these different relationships and boyfriends, and just this brokenness in my soul, and not even having any kind of self-esteem, understanding my value and all of that. It's so wonderful to come into such healing. It's so wonderful to come into my identity in Christ and falling in love with Jesus and falling in love with the Lord, and instead of chasing relationships, chasing God, man. Coming into purpose and identity. There's nothing like it. We were made. We have a creator. How are we going to know what purpose we're here for if we don't seek the creator? You have a vehicle. Then if something goes wrong with the vehicle, then you need to take it back to the dealership, the person or the company that made it. It's the same thing with us. God made us. So if there are issues and there are things that are wrong and there are things that we need to know, then we have to go back to God, right? And so my thing is, I just want these women to know it doesn't matter how much money he has, it doesn't matter how well he treats you, it doesn't matter that he's like, oh yeah, I'm being honest. I like Joan, and I like Cindy, and I like Mary. Yeah, well, you deserve to have somebody that just wants you. You deserve to have someone who wants to put all his attention and efforts on you and to build with you, building a godly relationship. Because it's so much more than physical stuff. It's so much more than sex. It's so much more than what he can buy and give to you. He is the man that's in your life who is supposed to be your husband. He's supposed to be your priest. He's supposed to be the one who is able to feed you spiritually and draw you closer to God. He's supposed to be able to see the gifts and the talents that are in you and draw that out so that you can bloom under his hands. He's the husbandman. He's a tiller of your soil. That's who he is. He's supposed to be able to cultivate you in God and bring out the things that God has placed on the inside of you for you to fulfill the purpose for which God has created. So if his time is scattered among so many different people, then how in the world is he going to be able to do that for you? It's just so dysfunctional, man. And, like I said, he isn't a Christian. These women aren't Christians. And this is the reason why I'm like, we chase the Lord. You need to come into relationship with Christ. And then you're going to find out how you're living and what you're living for out here in these streets. It's so dysfunctional. It's not God's intent for you. There is a whole full life that the Lord has for you. And thinking that it's about money and all of these different things, one day you're going to wake up and find out that it's all vanity. And maybe by then it's going to be too late.